showing you what I read in 2024 as a mood reader. I only read 12 books in 2024, which is not my proudest moment because last year I read 23 books in 2023 and I thought that I could do 24 books in 2024. Then life happened. 2024 was not really a good year for me personally. I've experienced a lot of stuff, a lot of emotions. Therefore, it affected my reading mood, I guess. So I was in a slump. On my last year's video, the books are like this tall. You couldn't even see it on frame. But for 2024, it's just... But that's okay. That's okay. So actually, I put this in a wrong order. Let me reorder this because... yeah, okay, I think this is the correct order. And I also have in front of me my iPad, which has an app that I use for tracking my reading journey. It's called Bookmori. Not sponsored. I always log my books in, so this is really convenient for me. The first book, this is called Lemonade Greenie by Hyun Irang. This is the Indonesian translation version from a Korean book. This is the Korean title. It's called Lemonade Harmony. The cover is so pretty. I'm a sucker for pretty covers. I love it. But then when I read it right here, it's mystery and thriller. If you watch a lot of like thriller, mystery, K-drama, you can definitely predict what happens in this book. I give this book a 3 out of 5. Second book that I read, this is called The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. It's just... wow. It's crazy. It's insane. I could tell this is more of a kind of like a heavy subject. Like this is an adult fiction. And I give this book a 5 out of 5. On February, I didn't read any books. On March, I read this book, which is called 5 Survive by Holly Jackson. This is my 4th book from her. 8 Hours, 6 Friends, 5 Survive. Yeah, I give this a 4 out of 5. And then I started reading this book in March, but then I finished it in May. This is called A Bicycle Made for Two by Mary Jane Baker. This is actually kind of like a small town romance. And this is my cat. She's always curious about what I'm doing. It's just way too long and it made me bored. I give this a 2 out of 5. Another May read is this book. This is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. I've heard a lot of good things about it, and this is actually a birthday present from one of my closest friends. Chichi, if you're watching this, thank you so much. And this is actually the Indonesian translation version, not the English one. I love the Indonesian cover better. This book is pretty popular, and this is about like 2 author best friends, and one of them, you know, and so the other one stole her manuscript and then published it as a book. I give this a 3.5 out of 5. On June, this is like my most read month. I read 4 books. So the first book that I read is Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. This is the Indonesian translation version. This has so many characters. Like these are all the characters, and then it goes on, and then it goes on and on. Like that's so many characters, and that's something that you probably should know. I give this a 3.5 out of 5. Second book that I read in June. This is called Welcome to the Hyunam-dong Bookshop. Selamat Datang di Toko Buku Hyunam-dong. Or the original is Ososeo Hyunam-dong Sojomimita. This is a Korean lit. Look at the cover. It's so pretty. I've heard about this book from Twitter. Like I was scrolling and people were talking about this book, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's definitely something that I would love to read, like a comfort book. I got the Indonesian version, but I also got the English one. This is the first time that I tap my book because it's just so good. I highly recommend this, especially if you're like on your mid-20s, if you're currently feeling quarter-life crisis. It's kind of like a slice of life, something that I like and did not expect it. was that it has a light subplot of romance. And this book somehow reminds me of a K-drama called Summer Strike. I give this book a 5 out of 5. Third book I read in June. This is called When in Rome by Sarah Adams. I heard a lot about this book from booktubers, book talkers. This is actually the first time I think that I could remember book that I read with Grumpy X Sunshine trope. I give this a 4.5 out of 5. Last book I read in June, ta-da! I watched the show on Netflix and I thought it was pretty fun. It's like a holiday Christmas, New Year's Eve type of show. This cover is actually the Netflix cover, which I'm not usually go for. Like, I prefer original covers, and the original ones are like this. So I give this book a 4.5 out of 5. July, August, I didn't read anything, and then on September I started reading a book, but I finished this on October, and it's called The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by XCO. Look at the cover, it's so pretty. I've had my eyes on this book for a long time, but I finally had the chance to buy it in 2024, and this is the Indonesian translation version. This is a fantasy novel with Korean folktale. I did not expect this book to be so interesting, and this book has a main concept of the invisible string / red string theory. You can even see that on the cover. The ending, so good. I was so satisfied with the ending. I give this a 5 out of 5. Okay, we're almost done. Sebentar sayang. November, I didn't read anything. Wait, this book, I actually started this book on July, but then I kept pausing to read it, and then I finished it on December. So this is called One Winter's Night by Kylie Dunbar. I thought that it would be like a cozy small town winter type of romance book. When I read it, I was like, so I give this a 2 out of 5. And then finally, this is the last book that I read in 2024. This is called Behind the Screen by Asmira Fea, and look at how pop the color of the cover is. That's one of the reasons why it caught my eye at the bookstore. This is a Metro Pop, which basically means like a story in like big city. I think the female main character is in the broadcasting field, and I am a broadcasting graduate. I learned about that in university, so I'm like, you know what, I think this could be like something that maybe I could relate to. There's actually a subplot about romance, and like the male main character, the love interest, is definitely my type. While I was reading this book, it got me giggling. It got me like kicking my feet up in the air, you know, that type of feeling. I also tabbed this book. I'm gonna read this one. This is talking about like the romance. Kalau memang sayang, gak ada salahnya dijalani. Yang penting kedua belah pihak mau berkompromi. This is such a good book to wrap up the year. I give this a 5 out of 5. So those are what I read in 2024. I hope 2025 will be a great year for us, for all of us. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Woo! Bye! Mwah!